All right. Hello again. It's actually daytime, so you can see my face, so that's good. Because last night was a fairly unprepared video, and you could tell because you couldn't really see anything. So anyway, now today's a new day. So I was thinking about today. So I'm back in my so I've returned back to my, I guess, older job. It's still pretty new though. I've only been there for about a month, a little over a month now. But I feel much more comfortable at this job. So Blue Ridge, and then I'm also working at this climbing place, Whetstone. And so I returned back today to Blue Ridge, to the one that I'm more familiar with. And I kind of had forgotten how it feels good to be certain. And that's the main point of the video today is certainty. I know I was listening to Tony Robbins a while ago now, and there was like a list he was given, like a list of 5 things of things that people need in their lives, and certainty, I believe, was one of them, if I recall correctly. And I think that's, I haven't really ever experienced that, I don't think, very clearly anyway. But so last night I was working at this new place, like brand new yesterday, and everything was so overwhelming and so brand new and so new and just so different. And it's hectic and it's stressful, and it's kind of like you feel like you have no idea what's going on because you're brand new, and that feeling is interesting because you feel like you're just completely out of control. You've got no control, it seems like, over what you're doing or what you need to be doing, a little bit. And I caught on at some point and kind of started to figure things out a little bit. There's still obviously plenty to learn, but that's a very different feeling. And coming back to my other job today, the one that I feel more comfortable with doing, I got this real sense of satisfaction and gratitude from being certain. Because I was doing these projects today that I knew what to do. I knew what to do and how to be busy for hours, right? So I knew what was going on, and I had a plan, and I knew how to execute the plan, and I was certain with what I was supposed to be doing. And that was refreshing, like after an 8-hour shift of being like, oh my God, what is going on? It's nice, it's refreshing to come back to a place of certainty. And so I experienced that today, maybe not for the first time. I've experienced that before, but again, a lot of these life lessons I've kind of been learning and observing are becoming more and more clear to me a little bit, because I think that I'm just kind of listening better. I'm just observing more. I'm just paying more attention, really. And so that was one of the lessons, was just how important certainty was. And I think there's an interesting balance to certainty, because if you're always certain and you're never really thinking about what you're doing, and you're never being I had a good word just a second ago. You're never being given. You're never being given enough information to stimulate your brain. Where was I going with this? So if you're always certain and you always know what you're doing, then your brain will not be stimulated. But if you're there's a weird balance, because I feel like you need certainty, but at the same time, if you have too much certainty, it's not good, because then your brain becomes mush. But then also at the same time, I feel like it's not good to always be uncertain and always be in the new job situation where you have no idea what's going on. I feel like if you're always and only in either of those situations, that's probably not very healthy. So I think a balance is good at some point. I don't know where that fine line is drawn or how you find that balance, but I'm fairly certain that if you're on either end of the spectrum exclusively, then you probably won't be living a very healthy lifestyle. I've certainly seen many people on the certain end of the spectrum, where they're certain that they're doing this and that's all they're going to do for the rest of their lives. That's the whole thing. And that's very dangerous. That's what I see very frequently. I'd say you really rarely see, actually, people on the other end of the spectrum where they're uncertain, or they just go through all of their life not knowing. Because that's a very uncomfortable feeling that no one really enjoys, I don't think. It's good for you, and I think that's why it's healthy to chase that occasionally. And again, I don't know what that balance is, but every now and then, if you're chasing that, it's healthy, because it activates your brain, right? It makes you think. It makes you be more more creative and more engaged. And I've kind of been over this just last night, but I wanted to go over it again because I think it's important. And so I guess that's kind of what all I was thinking about today was the idea of certainty. And I know that it's certainly high on the list for Tony Robbins, and his importance of life is certainty. And I think that, feeling needed, giving, loving, care. I mean, there's a few different things on the list, but certainty was certainly on that list. So I don't know how much more I have to say about that, I guess. But yeah, I think being certain is really important, and it feels good. When you're always in a situation of I don't know what's going on, it's nice to come back to a place, almost coming back to home, right? That's a good analogy actually. If you're always traveling, and everything's always brand new to you, and you're exploring and you're trying to learn the new system. Like me and my sister went to Europe, and we had to learn how the whole transportation system worked. It's very complex. You get the hang of it eventually, but it's pretty complex, and it's very foreign, obviously, to a foreigner. And so we had to kind of figure all this stuff out, and that was just one piece of it, was transportation. And there was so much more, hospitality and like where to stay, where to eat, all these other things that we had to consider. But the point is that it was all brand new, and we were all, the entire time we were, had to think on our toes. We're like, okay, we have to actually think through a process and figure things out, because none of it's been done before for us. It's all brand new. So that's the reasoning there. But it's very literally like when you come back home to where you've been living for 18 years or whatever. It's refreshing. It's like, oh, thank God I'm home, right? So it's kind of that same feeling. I think it's a pretty spot on metaphor actually. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna stop talking now. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Okay, see you tomorrow. Roger out.